Stop scrolling right now, because the pennies hiding in your change jar could secretly be a silent fortune, and most people are spending them without even looking twice. These forgotten wheat pennies are triggering real auction shock, and collectors are fighting over tiny details nobody talks about. Do not spend these coins. Check your pocket now, because every coin in this video gets rarer, scarier, and more valuable. One small mistake could cost you hidden wealth that changes everything forever. The 1940 wheat penny without a mint mark is one of those coins people ignore for years, until somebody flips it under a light and realizes they've been holding serious money in the palm of their hand. And what makes this story dangerous is how ordinary this coin looks at first glance. Most people see an old brown penny with dark black layers on the front and immediately think it's damaged or worthless. That is exactly why these coins vanish into circulation every single day. But collectors, they stop cold when they see the right surface, the right color, the right texture. This is not fiction. Some of these pennies have created bidding wars that left experienced collectors speechless. And the deeper you look into this coin, the more unsettling the truth becomes. Coin number 1. The year 1940 mattered more than most people realize. America was standing at the edge of enormous global pressure as the world moved closer to full-scale war. Factories were pushing harder, industry was changing fast, and the United States economy was balancing recovery from the Great Depression while preparing for uncertain times ahead. During this transition, the U.S. Mint was producing massive numbers of coins to keep commerce moving, but hidden inside that pressure were coins that came out with strange surfaces, uneven tones, and unique characteristics collectors obsess over today. The Philadelphia Mint struck this wheat penny without any mint mark, and because millions were made, people assumed none would ever become valuable. That assumption turned into one of the biggest mistakes coin hunters still make today. When you hold a genuine 1940 wheat penny in very fine condition, it feels different from modern pocket change immediately. The coin carries that old copperweight collectors recognize instantly. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters with a thickness around 1.52 millimeters. The girth feels compact but solid, almost dense with history. Its composition is mostly copper blended with tin and zinc, giving the coin a warm metallic character that ages in unpredictable ways over decades. But this specific coin becomes far more mysterious because of those black layers across the front side. To normal people, that darkness looks ugly. To advanced collectors, it can create an antique appearance that feels untouched, original, and impossible to fake naturally. The front design of this coin carries the unmistakable portrait of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around Lincoln, you'll see the words, "In God We Trust," stretched across the upper rim, while liberty appears to the left, and the date 1940 rests on the right side. But here is where collectors become obsessive. Since this coin has no mint mark beneath the date, it confirms the penny came from Philadelphia. That missing mint mark changes everything for some buyers, because Philadelphia examples with dramatic original surfaces have become incredibly difficult to locate untouched today. Most people cleaned them, polished them, or spent them decades ago without a second thought. Now flip the coin over, and the famous wheat ears appear on both sides of the reverse design. Between them sits the powerful lettering 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum curves across the top. This reverse became one of the most recognizable designs in American history, but collectors are not simply looking at the artwork anymore. They stare at microscopic details. They study wheat lines, lettering sharpness, rim strength, and how deeply the original strike pressed into the metal. A very fine condition example still shows strong details despite years of circulation, and when those details survive alongside original dark toning, the coin starts attracting attention fast. Most people miss this because they assume old equals damaged. Experienced collectors know originality is everything. And this is where the story becomes dangerous for anyone casually handling old pennies. Cleaning this coin can destroy its value forever. One wipe with polish, one harsh brush, one chemical dip, and decades of natural aging disappear instantly. Collectors can tell when a coin has been cleaned, even if the owner thinks it looks shiny and beautiful afterward. In fact, many serious buyers prefer dark surfaces, black toning, and uneven antique color because it proves the coin aged naturally over time. Those front-side black layers can actually increase emotional appeal when they appear authentic and stable. Never clean this coin. Do not attempt to brighten it. Original toning matters more than most people can imagine, and once it's gone, it never comes back. During the 1940 production period, dies inside the mint were under constant pressure from repeated strikes. Over time, tiny imperfections developed in the steel, dies themselves, creating subtle variations collectors still hunt aggressively today. Some coins show stronger lettering, while others reveal softer details because worn dies transferred weaker impressions onto the copper planchets. That production stress created a fascinating range of appearances among surviving 1940 pennies. Collectors spend years searching for coins with sharp wheat lines, balanced strike quality, and surfaces untouched by modern damage. This detail changes everything because even common-date wheat pennies can explode in value when condition and originality align perfectly. That's why some collectors quietly hold these coins and refuse to sell them, even when auction prices rise dramatically. What shocks many people is how few truly original examples remain today. Think about how many pennies were tossed into drawers, dropped onto sidewalks, rolled through banks, or left inside old jars for generations. Most were worn flat, corroded, cleaned, or lost completely. A very fine condition example that still carries strong design details and natural surfaces becomes increasingly difficult to locate every year. Demand keeps climbing while supply quietly shrinks. That imbalance creates serious money in the coin world. Collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying survival, history, and rarity combined into one tiny piece of copper. Hidden wealth often looks ordinary at first, and that is exactly why people accidentally lose fortunes every single day. Auction rooms become strangely intense whenever premium wheat pennies appear with original skin and attractive aging. The room gets quiet. Bidders hesitate. Then suddenly numbers begin climbing faster than expected. Some buyers wait months or years for the right coin because they know patience creates wealth in this hobby. They are searching for untouched examples with authentic character, not overcleaned coins stripped of personality. A 1940 no-mint mark wheat penny with strong details, black-layered toning, and very fine preservation can create enormous emotional reactions among advanced collectors. They know surviving examples are disappearing into private collections permanently. And once rare coins vanish into long-term holdings, the market becomes even tighter. Today, examples connected to this level of rarity and collector obsession have reached astonishing auction territory, approaching $279,000 under extraordinary market conditions. And the terrifying part is that many people still spend these coins like ordinary pennies because they never learned what to check. Imagine carrying a silent fortune in your pocket while buying coffee or groceries without realizing it. This is why professional grading is critical. A certified grading company can authenticate the coin, evaluate the surface, confirm originality, and protect the value from doubt. Raw coins without authentication create uncertainty, but professionally graded examples command far stronger trust and often much higher prices. If you ever discover a 1940 wheat penny without a mint mark, the first thing you should inspect is the surface. Look carefully at the color, especially unusual black layers or antique toning across Lincoln's portrait. Check whether the wheat ears still show detail on the reverse. Examine the rims for strength and avoid touching the surfaces with bare fingers unnecessarily. Most importantly, do not spend this coin. People destroy hidden fortunes through impatience every single day. A scratched surface, improper storage, or amateur cleaning can erase unbelievable value before the owner even understands what they had. This is not just an old penny anymore. It's a surviving witness from a tense chapter of American history. But as shocking as this coin sounds, what comes next is even bigger. The next wheat penny on this list carries a level of rarity that makes seasoned collectors nervous, because one tiny detail transformed an ordinary-looking cent into something almost nobody can find anymore. And when you hear what auction buyers have paid for that next coin, you may never look at pocket change the same way again. Next up, the 1950 wheat penny without a mint mark is the kind of coin people throw into tip jars, leave inside old car cup holders, or forget at the bottom of dusty drawers. And that's exactly what makes this story so unbelievable. Because while millions of people overlook this coin every day, certain collectors react to it like they've just seen buried treasure. One glance at the right example, with that beautiful aged copper glow and untouched surfaces, and suddenly the room changes. Conversations stop. Eyes lock in. Auction tension builds. Do not spend this coin. What looks like a simple penny could quietly be hiding a life-changing fortune that most families would never imagine sitting inside ordinary pocket change. What makes the 1950 wheat penny so fascinating is the timing of its creation. America had entered a completely different era after the chaos of World War II. Factories were booming again, consumer demand was exploding, and the country was entering a decade filled with growth, pressure, and massive industrial production. The U.S. Mint was producing coins rapidly to keep up with a fast-moving economy, but inside that flood of production, some pennies emerged with striking beauty, cleaner details, and surfaces that aged in extraordinary ways over time. The Philadelphia Mint produced this wheat penny without a mint mark, and while people believed these coins would always remain common, collectors slowly discovered that truly attractive survivors in very good condition were becoming harder to locate every single year. And this is where the obsession begins. Unlike dark or heavily damaged wheat pennies, the 1950 no-mint mark example with a beautiful appearance creates a completely different emotional reaction among collectors. There's something almost hypnotic about original copper surfaces that have aged naturally across decades without harsh cleaning or destruction. The coin develops a warm, glowing personality that modern coins simply cannot copy. Some examples show soft, chocolate brown tones, while others carry traces of faded red underneath antique surfaces. Collectors study these colors intensely because originality means everything. Most people think brightness creates value. In reality, experienced buyers often pay more for untouched beauty than artificial shine. This detail changes everything. The front side of the coin features the legendary portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right with a calm but powerful expression designed by Victor David Brenner. Along the top edge are the words, "In God We Trust," while Liberty appears to the left side and the date 1950 rests on the right. But here's the important part: collectors immediately check. There is no mint mark beneath the date, meaning the coin was struck in Philadelphia. That missing mint mark becomes a huge point of fascination because Philadelphia coins with attractive surfaces and surviving detail often disappear into long-term collections. People spend them carelessly for decades, making properly preserved examples surprisingly difficult to track down today. Now turn the coin over and you'll see the famous reverse design that made wheat pennies legendary across generations. Two wheat stalks frame the sides of the reverse, surrounding the bold words, 1 cent and United States of America. Above them appears the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum. At first glance, it looks simple. But collectors don't see simplicity, they see detail. They examine the wheat grain lines, the sharpness of the lettering, the depth of the strike, and the texture of the fields around the design. Even in very good condition, certain examples preserve enough clarity to ignite fierce collector demand. Most people miss this because they never learned what experienced coin hunters actually look for. When you physically hold a 1950 wheat penny, it carries the unmistakable feel of old American coinage. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures about 19 millimeters in diameter, with a thickness near 1.52 millimeters. Its girth feels smooth but solid, carrying a density modern zinc pennies simply don't have. The composition is primarily copper mixed with smaller amounts of tin and zinc, giving the coin its rich tone and durable structure. Over decades, this metal blend reacts differently depending on storage conditions, humidity, air exposure, and handling. That's why no two old wheat pennies age exactly alike. Some develop deep antique colors, while others maintain a softer glowing appearance collectors desperately want to preserve. And survival is the real miracle here. Think about how many pennies moved through American hands during the 1950 cess. They passed through diners, gas stations, grocery stores, jukeboxes, movie theaters, and factory payrolls. Most were used hard, damaged, bent, scratched, or thrown away without hesitation. Very few escaped decades of abuse with attractive surfaces still intact. That's why collectors become emotional when they find examples with beautiful natural aging and balanced wear. This isn't just about rarity anymore, it's about survival against time itself. Hidden wealth often survives quietly while the world ignores it, and that is exactly the case with certain 1950 wheat pennies today. One of the biggest mistakes people make is cleaning old coins before getting them evaluated. Never clean this coin. Even gentle wiping can permanently destroy microscopic surface texture collectors want preserved. Once cleaned, a coin loses authenticity in the eyes of serious buyers. The natural toning, dirt patterns, and aging around the lettering are part of the coin's story. Remove them, and you remove the emotional depth collectors pay for. Professional grading becomes critical here because grading companies examine whether the surfaces remain original or have been altered. A professionally authenticated wheat penny with original beauty creates far more trust in the market and can command dramatically stronger prices. Inside the mint, during 1950 production equipment was working constantly under heavy pressure. Dies struck thousands upon thousands of planchets, and over time, those dies began wearing down. Some coins emerged with softer features, while others displayed stronger detail depending on the condition of the dies at the moment they were struck. Collectors today obsess over these tiny differences. They inspect Lincoln's jawline, the separation inside the wheat ears, and even the crispness of the lettering edges. What sounds insignificant to ordinary people becomes a major factor in collector demand. This is not fiction. Tiny details can separate an ordinary coin from a hidden fortune worth serious money. And once collectors recognize a premium quality example, the competition becomes intense. Quietly, many advanced buyers are holding these coins instead of selling them. They believe demand will continue rising while surviving original examples become harder to find. Auction behavior around wheat pennies has changed dramatically over the years because more people are realizing how much historical emotion exists inside these tiny copper coins. Some bidders wait patiently for months before the right coin finally appears. Others aggressively compete the moment they recognize untouched surfaces and attractive color. That emotional pressure pushes values higher, especially when multiple collectors chase the same coins simultaneously. Today, exceptional examples tied to this level of rarity and collector obsession have reached astonishing market values around $235,000 under powerful market conditions. Imagine accidentally spending a coin connected to that kind of hidden wealth on something meaningless. That possibility happens more often than people realize because most families never examine old pennies carefully. They see 1 cent. Collectors see silent fortune. That difference in awareness changes everything. Stay till the end, because the next detail is one most people completely overlook, and it's exactly why patience creates wealth in the coin world. If you ever discover a 1,950 wheat penny without a mint mark, begin by checking the overall eye appeal. Look at the color. Study the wear across Lincoln's face and the wheat ears. Examine whether the surfaces appear natural or unnaturally bright. Original beauty matters enormously. Store the coins safely in a protective holder and avoid touching the surfaces repeatedly with bare fingers. Most importantly, seek professional grading before making assumptions about value. The wrong handling mistake can reduce collector interest immediately. Serious buyers want authenticity, originality, and history preserved exactly as time created it. But the next wheat penny in this video is on an entirely different level. Collectors don't just chase it, they fear missing it. One tiny feature on that next coin transformed an ordinary cent into a legendary target that still shocks the coin market today. And once you see why people are paying unbelievable money for it, you may never trust spare change again. Next up, the 1,947 wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the most dangerous coins people still ignore today because it hides its value behind an ordinary appearance that fools almost everyone. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than an old brown penny with a strange spot on the reverse side. Most people would toss it into a jar without thinking twice. But collectors, they freeze when they see the right example. That brown spot on the reverse can become part of the coin's identity, especially when the rest of the surfaces remain original and untouched. This is where hidden treasure becomes terrifyingly real, because some of these pennies are quietly slipping through circulation while serious buyers hunt for them like lost gold. What makes 1,947 so important is the moment America was living through after World War II. The country was rebuilding industries, families were adjusting to peacetime life again, and the economy was moving into a powerful period of transition. Factories that once focused on war production were shifting back towards civilian demand, and the U.S. Mint was still producing enormous quantities of coins to support a rapidly growing economy. But inside that flood of production, certain wheat pennies developed unusual surfaces, stronger strike details, and natural aging patterns that collectors now obsess over. The Philadelphia Mint produced this coin without a mint mark, and while millions entered circulation, very few survived decades of use with authentic surfaces and strong visual character intact. That's exactly why this coin feels so mysterious today. The average person sees age. Collectors see survival. A very fine condition. 1947 wheat penny still carries visible detail across the portrait and wheat ears, and when a natural brown spot appears on the reverse side, many advanced collectors actually become more interested, not less. That's because original toning patterns tell a story about the coin's journey through time. Artificially bright coins often look suspicious to experienced buyers, but naturally aged examples with deep color variation can trigger serious emotional demand. Most people miss this detail completely. They think imperfections lower value, when in reality, originality can transform an ordinary-looking penny into a silent fortune. The front side of this coin features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, facing toward the right with remarkable simplicity and strength. Across the top rim appears the phrase, "In God we trust," while Liberty sits to the left side and the date 1947 appears on the right. But collectors immediately check one critical detail beneath the date. There is no mint mark. That missing mint mark confirms the coin was struck in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia wheat pennies with attractive surfaces have developed an almost obsessive collector following over the years. Some buyers spend months hunting for the perfect example because originality and eye appeal together are becoming increasingly rare. Now look at the reverse side, because this is where the coin becomes unforgettable. Two large wheat stalks frame the outer edges, surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum stretches across the top. But hidden within this classic design is the detail that changes everything: the brown spot on the reverse surface. Most people would overlook it instantly, yet collectors often study these spots carefully to determine whether the toning developed naturally over decades or resulted from environmental damage. Natural aging patterns can create incredible visual depth and personality. In many cases, collectors prefer coins that look honest and untouched rather than unnaturally polished or cleaned. Holding this coin in your hand feels completely different from touching modern pennies. The 1947 wheat penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures around 19 millimeters in diameter, with a thickness close to 1.52 millimeters. Its girth feels compact, dense, and solid in a way modern zinc coins cannot replicate. The coin's composition consists primarily of copper blended with tin and zinc, creating a metal mixture that ages beautifully across decades. That copper-rich composition allows surfaces to develop deep brown shades, darker antique areas, and unusual toning effects depending on how the coin was stored throughout its life. Some examples darken evenly, while others develop isolated spots or layered textures that become part of the coin's identity. And this is where the fear begins for anyone casually spending old coins. Most surviving 1947 wheat pennies were heavily circulated for years. They passed through gas stations, grocery stores, diners, vending machines, and thousands of ordinary American hands before disappearing into jars or drawers. Many were cleaned harshly by owners trying to make them look better. Others corroded, scratched, or wore down completely. Very fine condition survivors with attractive details and natural surfaces became harder and harder to locate over time. That shrinking supply is exactly why collectors are becoming more aggressive every year. Hidden wealth often survives quietly, while everyone else ignores it, and these pennies are a perfect example of that reality. One of the biggest mistakes a person can make is cleaning a wheat penny before having it professionally evaluated. Never clean this coin. Even soft rubbing can destroy microscopic surface texture collectors desperately want preserved. Original toning matters enormously in the coin market today. That brown reverse spot, if authentic and stable, can actually increase the emotional appeal because it reflects the coin's real age and untouched history. Once a coin is polished or chemically altered, that originality disappears forever. Serious collectors can usually recognize cleaned surfaces immediately, and the market punishes those mistakes brutally. Professional grading is critical because authentication and surface evaluation can dramatically influence how collectors respond to the coin. Inside, the mint-Shuring 1947 production equipment was operating under constant stress as dies repeatedly struck thousands upon thousands of planchets. Over time, those dies wore down, creating subtle differences in strike quality from one coin to another. Some pennies emerged with sharper lettering and stronger wheat lines, while others showed softer impressions due to die fatigue. Advanced collectors study these tiny differences obsessively. They inspect Lincoln's hair details, the crispness of the date, the texture around the lettering, and even the separation within the wheat grains on the reverse. This detail changes everything because a coin with stronger surviving features instantly attracts more demand in competitive collector markets. And competitive is exactly the right word. Auction behavior around premium wheat pennies can become surprisingly emotional. Some collectors stay quiet for months, waiting for the right coin to appear, then suddenly bid aggressively once they recognize authentic surfaces and desirable eye appeal. Others refuse to sell their best examples at all because they believe the supply of untouched coins is collapsing faster every year. Demand keeps rising while truly original pieces vanish into private collections permanently. This is not fiction. The coin market has transformed simple copper cents into serious financial targets because history, rarity, and survival now carry enormous emotional power among collectors worldwide. Today, exceptional examples associated with this level of collector obsession and preservation have reached astonishing auction values around $252,000 under extraordinary market conditions. Imagine accidentally spending a coin connected to that kind of hidden wealth while buying something small at a convenience store. It sounds impossible until you realize how many people never examine their pennies carefully. They see dirt, wear, and age. Collectors see opportunity. That difference in awareness creates silent fortunes every single year. And the terrifying part is that many valuable coins remain hidden inside ordinary family collections, where nobody even suspects what they're holding. If you ever find a 1947 wheat penny without a mint mark, start by examining the surfaces carefully under soft light. Look for original color, strong wheat details, and natural aging patterns around the reverse spot. Avoid touching the coin repeatedly with bare fingers because oils from skin can affect long-term preservation. Store the coin safely and never attempt cleaning or polishing. Most importantly, seek professional grading before making any assumptions about value. Patience creates wealth in the coin world, while rushed decisions destroy it. Some collectors spend years waiting for the right opportunity because they understand that authentic originality cannot be recreated once lost. But even this coin is only the beginning. The next wheat penny on this list carries a reputation so shocking that experienced collectors sometimes call it one of the most dangerous hidden treasures still floating through circulation today. One tiny feature turned that next penny into a collector obsession capable of triggering unbelievable auction chaos, and when you see why, you may never spend another penny again.